You know, the choice in this election couldn't be clearer. But as the President described last night on the South Lawn of the White House, the stakes couldn't be higher. I mean, you've got a president today who I can tell you firsthand, having served at his side every day the last 3.5 years, who's always put America first. He's rebuilt our military. He revived our economy. And he stood by all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution, like the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech. He appointed more than 200 conservatives to our federal courts at every level, including Justice Neil Gorsuch and Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And this president has stood for law and order every day and with the men and women of law enforcement. In our first 3 years, it was an incredible record, with the strong support of partners in Congress, like Congressman Jack Bergman and Congressman John Molinar. We passed the largest increase in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. And I got to tell you, as the father of a United States Marine and the father-in-law of a United States Navy pilot, I couldn't be more proud and grateful to serve with a president who cares so much about the men and women of our armed forces and their families. We're finally giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force the resources they need to defend this nation. Our healthcare workers did an extraordinary job. Would you join me in thanking the doctors, nurses, healthcare workers, and first responders that stepped up and into harm's way throughout the course of this pandemic? You have made us proud. You know, thanks to the courage and the compassion of the American people, we're slowing the spread. We're protecting the vulnerable. We're saving lives. And we're opening up America again. And we're opening up America's schools again. You know, because of the strong foundation that President Trump poured in our first 3 years, it's remarkable. In the last 3 months alone, we've seen 9.3 million Americans go back to work. And in the days ahead, I promise you, we will continue to put the health of America first. And as we work to bring this economy back, we all have a role to play. But we also have a choice to make. Men and women across Michigan, I would just tell you to ask your neighbors and friends this question. As America is starting to get our footing again, as we're standing up this economy again, we're putting people back to work in record numbers all across Michigan and all across this country. Ask yourself, who do you trust to rebuild this economy over the next 4 years? A career politician who presided over the slowest recovery from a recession since the Great Depression? Or do you trust a proven leader who created jobs at a record pace across America and will do it again? The choice is clear. To bring America all the way back, we need 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. You know, I watched as much of that Democratic convention as I could. It wasn't easy. I mean, the Democrats spent the entire national convention attacking America and attacking Americans' president. But President Trump and I and our fellow Republicans, supporters across the land, spent the whole week celebrating America. We celebrated all we've accomplished together and all that we're going to do with 4 more years in the White House. You know, I love what the president said. He said, Joe Biden claims he's an ally of the light. But when it comes to his agenda, He wants to keep us completely in the dark. But you know, the American people are catching on. I was just over in Minnesota, where 6 Democrat mayors endorsed the re-election of President Donald Trump. And I don't know if you heard about it yet, but I heard there's a new poll out today. President Trump is leading in the state of Michigan. And so is John James. And I think it's because of the choice that we face. The leadership of this president, the vision that John James and these great congressmen are articulating every day. But the choices are remarkably clear. I mean, think about it. Joe Biden, in the middle of a global pandemic, Joe Biden wants to raise taxes by $4 trillion. President Trump cut taxes across the board, and we're going to cut taxes for working families for 4 more years. Joe Biden wants to bury our economy under an avalanche of red tape. A $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal that would stifle jobs, stifle automotive jobs right here in Michigan. President Donald Trump, well, he signed more laws cutting federal red tape than any president in American history, and we're just getting started. Joe Biden actually wants to end fossil fuels, to abolish fossil fuels. President Donald Trump, he unleashed American energy, made America energy independent, and now we're exporting energy for the first time in 70 years. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the days of economic surrender with China. He actually said just a few weeks ago that he wants to repeal all the tariffs that are leveling the playing field for American workers. When President Donald Trump stood up to China, we imposed tariffs to demand that China open their markets. The Phase 1 trade deal is in effect. We're starting on the way to leveling the playing field, and this president will always put American jobs and American workers first. And I don't have to tell the people, as a fellow son of the heartland, I don't have to tell the people of Michigan about the impact that NAFTA had on jobs in this state and all across this country. It's really remarkable to think that from the time NAFTA was signed into law and Joe Biden voted for it, we had 60,000 factories close. President Donald Trump will always stand for the right to life. You know, the choice in this election could not be more clear when it comes to the safety of the American people closer to home. I mean, this president knows that national security begins with border security. If you don't have borders, you don't have a nation. Joe Biden, he's for open borders, sanctuary cities. He wants to give amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants, and he wants to give free health care and free lawyers to illegal immigrants as well. President Donald Trump secured our border, made record investments in enforcement, and we've already built 300 miles of that border wall on the southern border of the United States. And with 4 more years, we're going to build it all. And we're going to fix this broken immigration system once and for all. And finally, this president, from our first day in office, has stood for law and order and stood with the incredible men and women of law enforcement at every level. The people of Michigan know what the President and I know, that most of the men and women who serve in law enforcement are the best people in this country. But as we pass through this challenging time, just as our nation was beginning to recover, we've seen violence and chaos in the streets of our city. Now, President Trump and I will always support the constitutional right of every American to peaceful protest. But rioting and looting is not peaceful protest. Tearing down statues is not free speech. Attacking innocent civilians and law enforcement will not be allowed, and those who do so will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I believe with all my heart the choice in this election is whether America will remain America. As President Trump said last night, this election will decide whether we will defend the American way of life or whether we will allow a radical movement to dismantle and destroy it. You know, here in the heartland, I know what we're going to do. Here in the heartland, we stand for faith, family, freedom, and the American flag. Joe Biden and the radical left want to set us on a path to socialism and decline, but I know that Michigan and America are going to vote to build a future on freedom and opportunity for all. We're going to vote for 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. You know, Joe Biden and the Democratic Party have been overtaken by the radical left. Their agenda of higher taxes, socialized medicine, open borders, because I know this movement is unstoppable. But we got to decide, men and women of Michigan, we got to decide right here and right now that Joe Biden will never be president of the United States. We're going to re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years.